Hello everybody, this is Winston Marsh in Melbourne, Australia, and I want to welcome to the program Terry Brock from his luxurious penthouse in downtown Orlando. Terry, how are you this evening your time, this morning mine?
Well, like we say in America, fantastic. We heard that originated somewhere in Australia, and now we use it over here and claim it as our own, of course.
Fantastic, Terry. Now, Terry, you and I want to discuss whether we need to leave old-fashioned marketing behind and just embrace all the new-fashioned digital marketing, or is there a place for both? So why don't you kick it off and show me some of the marvels of what we're doing here with Zoom, because Zoom is sensational, and even an old codger like me is using it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing little tool that Wayne Berry helped us to see and start to appreciate. I've been working with it now for quite a bit. And matter of fact, just finished doing an online course with my partner, Gina Carr, and we used Zoom to record it. We're using Zoom to record this right now. It's built into it, and it gives us the ability to connect with people. And I think that's the whole point about old-fashioned marketing and new-fashioned marketing. It's really not either or. It's both and. I look at the old-fashioned marketing as connecting with people, well, as people, as human beings, finding out their needs, showing them the benefits, not just the features, but the benefits and the experiences that they will get from working with you, from embracing your product, your service, etc. And I think using the new fashion marketing means we use the tools that are available to make life better. Like, for instance, look at what we're doing right now. You and I are communicating a world apart. You know, it's a long swim from Orlando to Melbourne, Australia. And we want to make sure that we can connect. And right now we're doing it almost as if we were sitting across the kitchen table from each other. For instance, how is video and audio?
It doesn't beat getting together occasionally, does it? It's nice to shake somebody's hand, look them in the eye, and be able to watch them walk around the room and have a drink. So
Absolutely.
whilst we can use digital and phones, I mean, how often do you find yourself sitting in the next office and you're communicating by email, you know, rather than going around and saying, how you going? But you've got something, you can use this Zoom so well you can even patch your iPhone in or something, Terry. Now, how do you do that?
Yes, there's a nice little feature that it has. It gives you the ability, like here, I've got my iPhone 6 Plus. So it's like this. You can also use Android, other forms of it. And using Zoom, it gives you a feature that I haven't seen in a lot of other capabilities, and other features. And what I'm going to do, let me shift a couple things around here a little bit, go over here into this mode, and now I'm going to click on Share Screen. And what I want to do is I'm just going to do a couple of clicks on the Zoom application and click on Share Screen. So it says, okay, let's do that. I'm going to tap here on my phone then, a couple of taps, and pretty soon, voila, you should see on the screen there my iPhone, and it should be there, or at least it's supposed to. Here we go. Press the right buttons, and it works really well. So I'll do that, and now you're seeing what's on my screen. Winnow, is that coming through for you?
Fantastic. That's amazing. I'm seeing your iPhone on Zoom. I mean, how far can this go? But what can you do with it, Terry? Come on.
Well, the nice thing about it is, see, I can say, oh, here's an app that I want to show you. Like, for instance, you might think of a sales manager who's got an app for their company, wants to train the sales force in how to do it. As we're recording this right now using Zoom, there's a record function. It'll create an MP4 file. I'm also showing you what is here on my screen. Here's one little application that I think is really good. It's called Digits, the calculator for humans. You'll see it's there do you see that there in the upper right-hand corner of my screen? Right there. Yep. As I do that, I'm going to tap on that. And this is a wonderful little application. I think it costs $2 or $3 or so. You know how when you put a bunch of numbers into your calculator, you might forget, oh, did I type that third one correctly? This uses the old tape measure idea. So if I wanted to put 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Notice what you see now on the screen here.
Wow, how good is that?
All of that there, and you think, hey, that's kind of nice. Just a handy little calculator. And then, of course, you can tap the clear here. You want to clear the tape? Yeah, we do. So I tap OK, and we're back to work with it. A great little tool that lets you start putting everything together that you need to do and to get a lot more done with it and to make sure that you're getting the kind of information you need. Here's another one. Oh, now you're going to like this one, because you and I are both into exercise a lot. Here's one that I bought from Stu Smith. You might think, well, who is Stu Smith? Stuart Smith. On the upper right corner on this one, you'll see Navy SEAL exercises. Here's an example of what can be done. Now, of course, we know it's very important to do push-ups, right? Winnow, you've been doing your push-ups lately?
Yep. Oh, yeah, of course.
Very
Yeah.
good. I like those. I'll put them here. But now in the Navy SEALs, they have several kinds. Like, for instance, dive bomber push-ups are real popular. So I'm going to tap that. And notice what I see on the screen. I'm seeing the right form, the style to do it. He has some text below, down here in this section here, and I can see the exact form that needs to be done. I think, okay, that one was good. What if I want to do some of the birds? Now, birds are fun. Oh, yeah, that make you feel real good. You do a few of those. Do about 50, 100 of those every morning, and combine it, you'll get in good shape there. And so this is an app that I can use. It loads on my phone. And the whole point of it is we're talking about old-fashioned versus new-fashioned marketing. And you see, I can take all of these various apps that are here and I make life better for human beings. Of course, not the least of which is Netflix, because with Netflix, of course, we get all those wonderful videos that are there. I think you have Netflix in Australia now, don't you?
You do, and we have a lot of others too.
Yeah, and a lot of others. So it's there, and I can go in. I'm going to say, okay, I want that one. I'm going to see how this works, and it shows me all kinds of wonderful little things there. Orange is the New Black, their new one here, and I can see, oh, here's some other movies, etc. All of this, and you can watch it right here. By the way, here's one of our favorites, Joe Crook, who is fat, sick, and nearly dead, a wonderful Aussie who came over to the United States and has revolutionized a lot of our diet and how to eat and juicing, wonderful little things like that. So,
okay, Terry, you're waxing lyrical. Now, this was just to show us that we could put up our iPhone on Zoom. Let's get back to what we're going to talk about today. You've shown us some new fashion marketing. Can we, before we get too involved in all this digital wonderment, can I just remind our listeners, our viewers, that none of this changes. The rules of marketing, whether you're using so-called old-fashioned or digital, remain the same. And remember, Terry, Marketing 101. The first thing you've got to know is, who is your ideal client? Who's your target market? If you don't know that, whether you throw water to a drowning man or you throw water digitally or through the newspaper, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
So you've got to know who the target market is. Secondly, and this is so important, and I see so many people who don't understand it, which is quite simple. If I am your ideal client, why should I choose to buy your product instead of your competitors, doing it myself or doing nothing? And how often, Terry, do you see people babbling on about their product, not selling the benefits, not selling those unique benefits? That's one of the biggest mistakes people make, be it digitally or old-fashioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I see it all the time. People saying, oh, our new widget is great. It's got the shiny new blue Giga over here, and it's got this over here, and it goes brrr like that. And I go, I don't care about that. What I care about is what's it going to do for me. And I think
that
that's
old-fashioned phrase. What's in it for me? That's
absolutely. And and I think part of the danger that we run into, one that I've seen often, you probably have seen this also, Winnow, is that people think, hey, I've got this new gizmo here, this new gadget, whatever it is, and this is going to revolutionize everything. And just by getting this alone, that's all you need. It will have you marching into the Garden of Eden just by buying a certain gizmo or gadget. And I tend to be very skeptical of that. What do you think?
Yeah, well, they could be talking in Swahili, couldn't they? Because if they're babbling on about it and you've got no idea, just tell me what it will do for me. I always remember the story of the guy that wouldn't join the company retirement plan, and his boss talked to him and the boss's supervisor, and finally the managing director got him in, the chief executive, and said, now listen, son, unless you join the company retirement plan, I will kick your backside from here to kingdom come. He said, sure, I'll join. And the managing director, the chief executive, said, how come you've taken so long to make? He said, nobody else put it quite as clearly as that.
Yeah.
And I think we can get upset or we can get involved with all the gobbledygook and talking about it. People get motor mouths, don't they? They're going, blah, 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 blah. And eyes are glazing over, and it doesn't happen what medium you use, because that's the third rule of marketing, which is, how do I find out about you and your product? And, the other day, Terry, I saw a person who was selling how to use LinkedIn courses. And guess what they were selling it on?
Right.
LinkedIn. Now, the people he wanted weren't even using LinkedIn. So it's, as I say, throwing the water to a drowning man, a complete waste of time.
Exactly. And you raise another point there. I like the idea of the blending. My whole point is, and I think yours as well, is it's not either or, it's both and. We
It
need
is.
the time honored principles of caring and really making them say, wow, as you've told us so many times, and put that with practical technology that really works. Not just something that's a new whiz bang, wow, this is cool. But we put those together. Now we've got something that really can help people, like with LinkedIn. You mentioned LinkedIn gives you the ability to not just go out and see one person and shake their hand. That's good. We like to be able to sit down with a person or small group of people and we see them. But with LinkedIn, now you can reach many, many people who are in your target market. They might be geographically dispersed all around the planet or in a given area, a region. But with LinkedIn and using it properly, now you take the best of the human care, put it there with a new technology, and you got a winning combination.
But we've still got to come back to one of the things about old-fashioned marketing. This is the first question you must ask, no matter what you're doing, is how do you describe yourself? I see so many people, their business card says manager. That's not particularly exciting. Their mini business card says director. That's not exciting. When you describe yourself, you need people to say, that's interesting, tell me more. Now, the same mistake is being made on LinkedIn. The most important part of LinkedIn is your bio. I
Yeah,
want
your
people to
profile.
read it and get a little trickle of dribble running down their chin in anticipation of meeting you. So there's something, yeah, there's something that's got to work for both. How do you describe yourself? What's on your business card? And a contemporary business card is LinkedIn, isn't it? To a certain extent, it's Facebook. To a certain extent, it's everything else. Let's extend that. You go to a website and you want to read all about it. And it doesn't explain it. It doesn't set you up as the authority. It doesn't set you up as a person who knows what they're doing. I guess that's, Terry, because we were all taught when we were kids not to boast. So
Yes.
writing about ourselves is probably the biggest problem. There
Hmm.
must be an app that can write something about each of us, is there?
Yeah, I think there might be. They probably have something like that, but it gives us the ability to use and to talk more. And I think what we can do is seriously with these, one of the greatest tools I have found is the ability to use dictation, whether it's Siri or the voice over there on the Android, that I can
Love
talk. Think
Siri. Love Siri.
Oh yeah, Siri is fabulous, and particularly I like the Australian version of Siri, Karen Jacobson, who is now
Mm-hmm.
in New York City, but from Australia. And so I literally use the Australian with Karen Jacobson here. It's like I got a friend there. I can do it. But think about it: you can talk faster than you can type, or certainly write. So when you can talk into your device, whether it's your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, your iPad, whatever it is you're using, then you can be even more clear and you can get things done more rapidly that way.
And there's one great advantage about it. When you talk it, you are writing like you speak. You're in the vernacular. Now,
Yes.
for some reason, when we went to school and our English teacher, Mrs. Smith, remember her, large,
Yeah, I
busty,
had her also.
she,
She got around.
she, she had rules like you can't start a sentence with and you can't have short sentences and short paragraphs. But that's the way we speak. So when you
Exactly.
dictate your emails, your articles, people will say to you, it's like you're talking to me.
Yep.
How good is that?
Yeah, I remember often they say certain rules like you cannot end a sentence with the word up, and I remember old Winston Churchill who said, that is a rule up with which I will not put.
Now, can I just add something else? If you want to get your biography, you written, we can use a lovely new-fashioned area of assistance, and that's we can go to things like Elance or Odesk and get somebody to get the information about us and write about us. Maybe it could be a journalist, maybe it could be a newspaper journalist who knows how to tell a great story. So maybe
Absolutely.
if
See,
you want to get your LinkedIn entry right, you should spend some money getting somebody else to write it about you. It'll be much more interesting.
you raise an extraordinarily important point there that you can't do everything. And for those listeners and viewers to business marketing, we encourage you to extend. You can't get everything done by yourself. You need others. As a matter of fact, Winnow, as we're recording this, you know that we are putting together a webinar, actually a virtual presentation tomorrow. And you are signed up for that. We're looking forward to getting you the recording for it. We've got a lot of things that we need to do. We have used the service called Upwork, which used to be Odesk. They changed their name to Upwork. So we're using them and tapping into people around the world that are helping us. We've got, matter of fact, right now, we've got a person in Malaysia that's helping us. And we've got tomorrow lined up a person who is in Greece. She's been working with us. She'll be the one person in Greece that's actually working. And
as we record this, they're just defaulting on that debt. So
that's right. That's why we say that. A little contemporary humor. So, but the thing is, yes, I would say for those of you watching this, don't try to do it all yourself. Tap into a network of people using services, as Winnow mentioned, from Elance, from Upwork, and from others, and that helps you to really get a lot more done. And one of the real nice features is a lot of people will do it for maybe a lot less than you would hire locally. So local now has become planet Earth. It's no longer your particular piece of dirt where you happen to be born.
Wonderful stuff. Now, Terry, I bet you still have something in your wallet you've always had. And of course, knowing you, you'll have a digital version. And it's most important. It's called your business card. Because, Terry, you know when you occasionally have one of those face-to-face meetings, when you don't do it digitally?
I've heard of those.
You exchange business cards, don't you? And a business card is still one of the best marketing tools you can have. Most important, it's got to say your name, it's got to put the interesting title on what you do and have contact details. But we do that digitally too, don't we? Let's talk about having your business card at the end of an email, Terry. What are some of the rules for that?
You want to make sure that it's clearly visible. Make sure that it's something that's not obscure, because an email is a key function for many of the tools that are out there. For instance, here's the benefit. You meet a new person. You can take their business card and scan it with a feature, an app on here called Scannable. And it gives you the ability then to, if I can find that here, it gives you the ability Scannable. And I'm just going to show it to you here on my screen this way. I've turned off the other. It gives you the ability to take cards and have them automatically scanned and put into your LinkedIn database, because it keys in on the email address, it finds the person, and now immediately, not only did you take that card, but you've now put it into your LinkedIn database. So now you can stay in touch with them and you find out a whole lot more about them than just a fax number, a phone number, maybe an address or something like that. You find out their whole history. And so using tools like this give you the ability to get much more done much faster.
Okay, so business cards, both digital and physical, are important. Very important.
Yes.
Let's move on to something that you're going to say, you won't like this at all. It's called snail mail.
Oh, I've heard of that.
I love it when US Post says we're going to chop down the number of deliveries every week, and Australia Post says you're going to have to pay more. I love it. They keep saying people will soon only get one letter a day or one letter a week, and I say, please God, let it be mine, because I love the way snail mail bursts through the clutter. So,
I agree with you completely. Matter of fact, one of the things I think is really nice, I mean, we're right here in my study. This is another nice thing about it. I'm use this a lot. This is just a postcard. See, it says Terry Brock. There he is. Got the post here and the postage. And you know, I use it with a thing. When you remember these things, they were called pins. You could write and they put ink on the paper. It's a really amazing thing. Way back then, they would use those. Well, I still use them today. And I find that really helps, because a handwritten note is very important in a postcard. I really like, because they're a little bit cheaper than a letter, and you can't throw away a postcard without looking at it. You at least have to see something there.
There are some vendors who will send the postcard out on your behalf too. I mean, you just got to write the message, put whatever, you can have whatever photo you want, and they will mail it out either one by one or to hundreds of people. Now, I love those so long as they don't look too mass manufactured.
That's right. Here's one that's called Postgram. And Postgram, see, I'm just showing you all these cool things here. This is fun. Postgram gives you the ability to snap a picture. You snap a picture of someone, you got it, it looks good, and you go, oh, I want to send that to him. And so you tap a couple of buttons, and it creates a printed postcard that is then physically sent through the mail. Costs $1.
Actually delivered by the mailman, is it?
Yeah, it is delivered by the mailman as a postcard. And it's the postcard.
How much does that cost?
What's that?
How much does that cost, Terry?
Costs $1 to send that through the mail, and it arrives in a few days. But think about it: if you meet someone and you're at a convention, you're at a meeting, and you go, "Hey, let's get a picture right now." And of course, we all use the selfies now so much. You hold up your thing, you get the picture of the two of you, and then you immediately send that to them at their snail mail address, and they get it a few days later, and they're going, "Oh yeah, I remember when we had lunch? That was a really nice time. Thank you." For $1, I think it's well worth it in the right places.
And there's nothing better than a lovely letter. You know, a letter in an envelope that's got tactile involvement. Maybe it's got a few stamps on it. Maybe it's sent from somewhere that they don't expect to get a letter. And maybe it's got a little bulge in it that doesn't exude white powder or tick. Now, I heard from a guy the other day who heard me speak 20 years ago when I talked about the soap letter. Now, the soap letter is you go to a motel or somewhere and you steal the soap. You know those little cakes of soap they have?
I've heard that is done.
Yeah. You check out when they're cleaning the rooms and you walk past the maid's trolley and sweep a whole lot of soap into your bag, so you've got a supply. And then you send a letter with a piece of soap out to somebody who you don't know but you want to know. And, of course, the bulge is in it. That excites them. They've got to open it and they see the soap. And they say, I wonder why I've got this. And they read that. And it says, now, you don't know me from a bar of soap. Here's the soap. And, you know, you explain. I heard from a guy the other day that heard me talk about that 20 years ago, and he now has the biggest share of the market in America from Australia selling church pulpits and lecterns. And he sends a cake of soap to the good old padre or the father or the reverend to first of all get their attention. And he said, when I've used it for 20 years.
Great way to do it. Practicing stealing to propagate the gospel. I think that's a clever way to.
No, he did. He had the soap made. He had a little.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different.
I think on the soap it says, here's the way to wash down the hot lather your sermon creates, or something.
You know, I like what you're saying, because when something is 3D and it's bulky, it's lumpy, and might be hard and shiny or whatever it is, something like that, you kind of go, what is in here? You got to open that. Now, it costs you a few coins extra to send that, but think about the impression you're making, and you're really standing out. I agree with you, Winnow. If everybody stopped sending mail, that would be fine, because then I would stand out even more. I still like to use it all, and I think there's a strong place, and always will be, for getting a paper card in the mail, getting a paper letter. Those kind of things matter. And still, there's a place for text messaging, for email, for video. There's means and room for all of this.
Okay, now, Terry, sending the bar of soap, or you've done the lifesavers or the dollar coin, all those sort of things. What's the digital equivalent you can use to get people's attention in a sea of email or LinkedIn messages or Facebook? Are there any clues or apps that you might use that really help get people's attention for what you're sending?
There are several, and I think the key is it would be good for now and way into the future is something that is different and compelling to them, and it's different. One of the things that I've found that has worked well, you and I use this now extensively in sending information back and forth between Orlando and Melbourne, is a little tool called iJot.
Oh, love it.
iJot is a great little tool. I've got it here on my iPhone, and I've got it on my laptop as well, and it gives you the ability to create a video email. And with video, this way you're communicating with them. You can actually get up and move around. You can go, hello there, how are you? And, move around and do some things and make it kind of interesting and unusual. For instance, I recommend getting an external webcam, because then I can pick up my webcam like this, turn it around and say, look at where I am right now. This is Orlando, Florida, right now, looking off into our lake out there. And you see that, and it creates something that is different. Something that's
from his luxurious penthouse in Orlando, Florida, folks. Did you notice
Orlando, where we're having a beautiful sunset right now. Lately, the sun has been going down in the west here lately in Orlando.
Is it? Is that happening? It does it down here. Now, just a point about iJot, Terry. What I love about it is it gets through. They don't need software at the other end to look at your message or to respond. And it doesn't seem to get blocked or be bulky, too big a file. If you just do a minute or two's message, it costs you nothing.
Yep.
Works well. wouldn't it?
Yeah, you can even use up to 15 minutes and it will not get lost. And the reason, it's like sending a link to YouTube. If I send you a link and I say, Winnow, I want you to see this video here on YouTube, I'd send you a link. You click on the link, and where's the file actually stored? It's on the servers at YouTube.
YouTube,
And the
yeah.
same thing happens with iJot. That's the beauty of it. It creates a video that you would record here, and it puts it on the servers. It happens to be the Amazon S3 servers. It puts it there, and then you get the link. So you say, oh, I've got a video here from Terry. What is this? You click on that, and then it goes up and says, hello, servers at Amazon, play this video for Winston Marsh so that he can watch that and see what's happening.
Anything else to get people's attention digitally? Do you use sound? Do you use any graphics, or do you just write plain good old subject lines?
I find that the subject line is really important. I think that using that with a video can be very helpful. Video is good. I used to do a lot more with just sound, and occasionally we can use that. I think there's a place for audio. Oh, by the way, going back, one of the things that's very nice about what we're using here with Zoom, it creates an MP4 file, and it creates an M4A audio file that can be converted into MP3, etc. So now you listen. Sometimes an audio message is better than video. If you're driving from Melbourne to Sydney, it'd be good to have some audio to listen to.
Yeah, or Orlando down to whatever. What's the capital of Florida? Yeah,
Tallahassee is the capital. Miami'd be a more fun place to go.
Miami. Now, look, there's one thing that you can't beat old-fashioned for. You know that slot that the mail goes into? Well, around here, we have what's called walkers who walk and put advertising pamphlets in. We call that junk mail. It doesn't come through the post. Now, I'm not sure that you're allowed to do that in the States. But here,
Right.
all the big companies use junk mail. And people say, it's junk mail, no good. Hey, junk and spam is only stuff people don't want to receive. So there is, particularly for people in local areas doing some local area marketing, if they drop the right sort of communication in the letterbox, it really works.
Absolutely.
It really
I think it goes back to the key is you want it to be compelling. Like, for instance, if someone were advertised to me, let's say something like child swing sets, wouldn't appeal to me at all. I don't have grandchildren. I have no children. Wouldn't be anything for me. But if they did something like, here's a sale on some of that delicious pizza from one of my favorite pizza places on a Friday night or on a Saturday night, hey, that's not junk. That's good. And if I use that, I get $5 off. Well, hey, I'm picking up the phone. I'm going to give them a call and say, I want that pizza delivered.
More importantly, they would say to you, which would get you, download our pizza app. And they would have you, Terry, wouldn't they?
They probably would. That would be good. Include a little bit of good vodka with it or some sake, and we'd be all set.
Now, the important thing with this so-called junk mail, which a lot of my clients use very effectively, is it's got to obey those age-old rules of successful advertising. AIDA. A, get their attention. I, stimulate their interest, create desire with a D, and A, get them to take action. So a simple thing, if you want to drop things in letterboxes, is just to put it in a green envelope or a pink envelope or a gold envelope, and people can't help. They say, what's this? And they open it. So tell me, when people do these email blasts, Terry, and invite people to seminars, that's junk mail, spam mailing, but it must be effective too. Is it just playing for numbers, or are there good ways of doing that?
I think the good ways are, first of all, you want to make sure you have a very good subject line. That is very important. That's targeted toward a market. And the beauty today is with Facebook, with LinkedIn particularly, and other areas too, you don't have to just blast a message out. I mean, think about it. Do you like to be blasted upon? Nobody does. So why do people say, well, we're just going to blast an email out there? Oh, come on. How antiquated. Instead, why don't you present an offer to those people who are more likely to respond to it? And with LinkedIn, with Facebook, you could find all the people that are in your database or people that are in this age demographic or are interested in this type of activity, highly targeted. That's why Mark Zuckerberg is worth upwards of $31 billion right now. They came up with a way to help advertisers reach their target market cost effectively for only a few dollars. A couple years ago, as a matter of fact, when Gene and I were at our publishers, McGraw-Hill in New York. We wrote our book, Clout Matters, shameless plug there, Clout Matters, and a damn fine good book. But we were there in New York talking to them, and in the closed doors, behind closed doors, they were telling us how they have found that books are selling very well now through Facebook. Very inexpensive ad of $7. They get good results from that. I thought, whoa, this is important. And so it's because it is so highly targeted. You find the kind of book you have, for instance, if you're selling a book, who is it that's likely to do it? And don't aim for these others. Hit the people squarely that are more interested in that, and then everybody's happy.
You know, if you've got a good book or a good movie and you want to promote it to a female market, here's a great tip. This is old-fashioned, of course. Give it to your hairdressers. You know, your female hairdressers.
Excellent.
Take them to the movie, whiten their teeth, whatever it is you do, and then if they like it, they tell everybody, and they've got a captive audience.
Yep.
Now, look, there's one other thing we can do with the mail, and we must wrap up soon. We'll come back and have another go at this, but we don't want to take too long. With, of course, snail mail, you can buy a list. So you can buy a list of people who have bought refrigerators in the last 12 months or have travelled to Mexico, and because they have an interest in that, you can do a mail to them. The same thing can happen now with digital mail, can't it? You can buy lists, Terry, can't you, of people that you want to get to.
Yeah, you can, and I would say that sometimes that can work, but we have found that often you buy lists and you might not know what it is. It could be robots in India or the Philippines, and you just don't, I don't care how cheap it is, if it gives you a bad name and it hits other people and they go, I don't like. A much better way to do it is using relationship marketing. Getting to know people and working with them. And so, for instance, we might say, let's say you and I were going to do a particular promotion. I might say, hey, tell you what, when you send this out, I've got a promo here. You've got people on your list that you know have opted in, have double opted in. They love you. They were with you. And I have people on my list that are double opted in. They like the material, the content I'm creating, and we're going to jointly market this particular promotion that I have, for instance. And we do that now. I'm accessing people that are your friend, and you say, hey, my buddy, my mate Terry now has this particular product that's coming out. I've tried it. I like it. I think you will like that as well. Now you're doing the equivalent of, in the real world, you're putting your arm around someone's shoulder saying, this person here, he's my mate. He's got a good thing. You'll want to listen to him. That's a whole lot better than buying a list that might be precarious at best. And
well, Terry,
we
might need to part on a difference of opinion. Like, if I had a new invention for people who had arthritis, I wouldn't mind an email list of people who had bought arthritis cream or seen an arthritis doctor in the last year or so. That's pretty targeted, and it'd be pretty easy for me to put my arm around them and say, hey, look, I've got something, and sell the benefits to them. So,
yeah, I think that would be very good as long as you can authenticate it and make sure that it's not something that's bogus. There's a lot of bogus out there. The journalist in me says, make sure.
It must be a user list. You know, it's got to be genuine people. Terry, we've exhausted our time, and we haven't started to talk about all those wonderful things. We haven't touched on advertising, which I think you're now the secretary of AAA, the American Association for the Abolition of Advertising, aren't you? Or do you still use that in the digital world?
Oh, yeah, I think we still do it, but we do it in a digital way. And so we're constantly looking at tweaking what's going to work. And video now is a huge component in that. When we see tools like Periscope and Meerkat coming up with streaming video, that's important. In advertising, it all is changing dramatically. You can't hold on to what worked back then, back in the good old days. However you define that, you got to look at what's today.
You're getting me lusting to hear about those things, Periscope and Meerkat. Can we come back sometime in the future and let's talk about advertising old-fashioned and advertising new-fashioned?
I think it'd be wonderful when I'm ever back in the neighborhood. But wait a minute, the neighborhood is planet Earth. And so with tools like this, we're always in the neighborhood. And by the way, if I can mention something to those of you that are listening, think about ways that you can connect. You saw what we just did here with video. We've got audio with it. You can connect with people. Winnow and I are good friends. We're good mates through the years. It's wonderful that we can connect through technology now, see each other, and then occasionally we get together like we're planning to later this year. Get together and share a few, because he owes me, I'll tell you, a good drink from wine and a nice meal. So I'm getting over there to collect personally from him.
And I'll show him, folks, a kangaroo and a platypus. Gina rather likes kangaroos. We put one through past her room one day. She just loved that. Look,
Yeah.
Terry, your email address is?
Terry at terrybrock.com, and that's spelled Terry, and Brock is spelled the right way, BROCK. So Terry at terrybrock.com.
And of course, your website is terrybrock.com. I'm Winston Marsh. You'll get me, Guru, that's GURU, at winstonmarsh.com.au with a website, winstonmarsh.com.au. Terry, let's make an appointment for all our viewers and listeners to come back and have a chat with them sometime soon.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, and it's always great to see you.
Thanks, Terry. Fantastic.